We're 300 days in and over 1,200 short form videos. From boom to bust to bounce back again, here's some of the truth that the highlight reels won't show you. Hey guys, what's up? My name is Eric. I am the founder of In Your Hand Media. And if you've been following along, we've been working on some short form video output since August 22nd of 2024. We're doing 4 vertical videos through 3 channels: TikToks, Instagram Reels, and Shorts. And today happens to be the 300-day check-in. We're gonna look at where we're at with the data and see how we're growing, how we're not growing, and tell you the truth about what happens when you output 4 videos a day to these channels. So let's go ahead and dive right in. All right, guys, so what we're looking at once again is our metrical report. We pull this every 30 days and it focuses on Instagram, TikTok, and Shorts. This is a good way for us to kind of have a comparison as we go every 30 days into the future. And we can take those files that we get out of the metrical, those reports, and we can compare those to the other reports that we pulled previously. We like to take those particular PDFs and we can rip them through things like ChatGPT and Gemini to ask it to analyze the anomalies and tell us what it's seeing. As we know, we're in a world today where these LLMs can analyze PDFs way faster than any human being can do. And in that, it gives us a lot of data and intel really quick as to what we're seeing with the trends and the way things are happening within these 3 accounts. So what we're looking at here is May 21st to June 21st. We're just gonna do a 30-day span. Even though the day is the 22nd, it doesn't give us the ability to pull to the data today. As you can see, we are up 2.59% month over month. If I were to look back, we were at 1% last month, so we had a little bit of a dip in our growth, and we were holding strong at about 5% month over month. So we're starting to see an uptick again, which is great. As we can see, we look at the trends, 386, 383. It's not like we're growing at a rapid pace, but those that do follow are people that actually want to follow and that are following because they consume the content and there's something they're interested in, right? And we kind of see that trend through all of them, all 3 of them. It's very slow adaptation. Once again, we're very self-proclaimed that we are not in these accounts like working them at a high level from an engagement factor. We're doing a short form video play that goes out to long form. So that's not always super valuable either because it's only a part of the story that they're getting and they have to take an action to go see the full part of the full video. In that, a lot of people aren't gonna do it, but that's what we've been monitoring over this year. What happens if you just get down to business with outputting 4 pieces of content, defining a strategy, short form to long form, interjecting some valuable one-off pieces when we can. And that's been the strategy. And in that, we've been continually getting growth month over month. It's not at an exorbitant level where we're like blowing it up like a viral sensation. And it's just the truth of what happens when you just stay consistent and you don't stop your output. You leverage things like the artificial intelligence, the LLMs that are out here now to help you with hashtags, help you with those signals that you can put around the content to try to find more folks, more audience out in the wild. So yeah, with that, we're really happy to see a 2.59% growth month over month, whereas last month we were only about a 1%. And then prior to that, we were clocking steady at about a 5% with this strategy. So if we move into impressions, we can see impressions are starting to take off in Instagram, which is really nice to see. Instagram in general, it's not very high in the reach. When we get into looking at those channels, you'll see like our particular posts aren't getting a ton of volume every time we put them out. But in that though, we could see some growth is starting to happen within the platform. So it's something to keep an eye on and to see, maybe what could be triggering that. Maybe it's seasonality, maybe the algorithms have shifted, we're not quite sure, but something is happening in Instagram, which is interesting. TikTok as well is up to 14% overall, which is really nice to see. If we go back to last month, it was flatlined. So something in TikTok is turned on, and the same with Instagram, as we can see, almost 60% increase, which is really nice to see. YouTube last month was at a 9.43%, and it's only at a 1.82, but still growth nonetheless overall. So really great to see that all 3 accounts are in the plus on impression side of the house. Let's just take a quick moment and just talk through our interactions as well. That really clocks pretty consistently what we're seeing in Instagram Reels as far as the interactions. It's not getting a ton of reach. and it just feels that way overall. So for whatever reason, that's not surprising to us. TikTok interactions up 155%. That's really great to see. And YouTube is struggling a little bit. It's not having as much engagement overall. All right, let's take a quick minute, just look at the ranking of the post. I wanted to point out, once again, occasionally I'll put my own twist. I'll throw a piece of content into the mix out of the blue. And this was one around the threat of AI and how it's going to decimate a ton of white-collar jobs, and I had something to say around that. And in that, we can see it creeped its way up into some of the TikTok performance overall, which is pretty much killing it on the impression side. As we can see, TikTok seems to be in the lead in the top 6 here. But that one piece of content that broke the mold of short form to long form, we can see it resonated pretty well, and we got some interactions around it. Yep, and then moving down into the next tier of results with the performance, we can see TikTok is still kind of in the lead, but Instagram is starting to get some pops, and we can see in June, we have May, June, but we can see that's where a couple of these Instagram pieces actually took off a little bit and got a little bit more than just, under 100 views, which has kind of been the standard for us overall. So it's good to see that. All right, here we are at community growth. So this is with Instagram that we're looking at first. We can see we've gained some followers overall, plus 1%. Yeah, and just it's nice to see the way things are charting in regards to some of the community growth. We can see that we're on an uptick between the end of May as we moved into June, which is really great to see. If we were to look at it last month, we could see we had a little bit, flat line came up. And we look prior, we could see it was actually heading downwards. So it's good to see this. We're starting to head upwards within Instagram. For whatever reason, maybe some of the algorithms have changed, time of year, maybe some of the content output we're doing. In either event, it's good to see this. While we're on the subject of community growth, let's just take a quick look at our TikTok account. We can see we're up in followers, and in that we can see, from May, we were kind of holding steady down there, and then something happened, maybe once again, an algorithm shift, something happened that it started to turn on a little bit, and we're starting to get some ascension within that. This is the current, or the past 30 days that we're looking at. Prior 30 days, we can see kind of interesting overall, flatlined up to another level and then down. And then we look back a little bit further, 3 months ago, we can see we're also on a similar trend that is looking similar to what we're seeing here. So yeah, that's great to see that growth within TikTok. And finally, let's take a look at our YouTube as well. We are up subscribers, which is great. Subscribers on a monthly basis, we can gain a few, a couple to a few. So within that, that's really great to see that we've gained a couple more subscribers. But we can see though, the trend is just, kind of flat overall. It's not like it's like a crazy jump, over time. If we look back the prior 30 days, we can see it's very similar and very similar to that. But we can see we're at 53 roughly 3 months ago, and now we're up to 61. So that's pretty great. Just the consistency of the output of us challenging ourselves with bringing more valuable content, which I'll speak to here in a second. Those types of things seem to have helped us here in May a little bit. So I think that's good on the reporting side. Let's go ahead and jump into the actual accounts and take a look over there for a second. All right, now we're back over to the side where we're looking at the actual social media channels. First thing we're looking at here is the YouTube channel that we have in existence. And we can start to look down through just some of the ways in which the algorithms opened up and did not open up. We can see within this last day, we had one go up to 326 views, whereas some of the others that had populated prior, under 100, this one only got 3. Once again, this really speaks to the consistency factor, right? If we have 4 shots a day to eventually, look at this one over here at 580 views, that is part of the game in and of itself. Just having those 4 at-bats of putting out that content. There's one spot in the day where maybe the algorithm can allow it to open up a little bit. We can get up to 600 views versus 3 views, right? I mean, this one here had 1 view, this one had 580, and they're within a day of each other. It just goes to show how these algorithms really do suppress and control when things get seen within these platforms. Let's take a look at TikTok really quick. As we can see in general, they would say our count is suppressed or whatever. It does feel that way quite often, right? I mean, it's hard for us to get above 100 views overall. Occasionally it'll open up and allow us out into the wild, but yeah, we with TikTok, we are still growing, but it's this particular output and strategy and so forth, it's not like blowing up like at a high level, and we know why, because it's, once again, short form content going to long form. You only get bits and pieces of the story, and then you have to take action, and us as human beings are pretty lazy. so in that, we don't really come out of the content, we just swipe to the next thing, swipe to the next thing. So it makes a lot of sense in regards to that. Now, when we put something in of more value, it tends to do a little bit better, but at the end of the day, you only have, the short form side of it, unless you sit and film in the native app and you do a longer video. When you're outputting things through these schedules and stuff, you need to keep it under 60 seconds or less. And in that, you only get to tell that story in 60 seconds, which you can do pretty well, and especially put out valuable content in that. But to get them to go from a short form to a long form, it makes it very difficult of a lift, but it still does happen for us. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at Instagram real quick. With Instagram in general, the past few days, we haven't got a ton of views. But if we look back a little bit further, we can see we were starting to press up closer to the 200s, 241, 212, etc. So, in general, Instagram, out of all of them, doesn't seem to perform all that great at times, but it does have its periods where it starts to go into a better visibility within the algorithms and so forth, and gets above the 100 and the 200s, but it hasn't cracked super high above that. So really quick, I do want to speak to a piece of content that we did put out just roughly about 3 days ago at this point, on the 19th of June. Within YouTube, we went ahead and filmed a video called How to Set Up Custom GPTs in ChatGPT and Custom Gems. And as we can see, within 3 days, it's already clocking 2 away from beating our 30-day check-in, the 270-day check-in. So once again, what does that mean? That means that the valuable content that isn't short form to long form, where we actually instruct and teach people things that they want to know and that they're curious about, the content tends to resonate a lot better and do well. And once again, this is a 16:9 video. It was shot in 9:16 because we weren't expecting it to be about 12 minutes long. We thought it would be much shorter, but in that, having a 16:9 video already at 27 views within 3 days, we're pretty happy about, given our level of subscribers and the fact that, that it's a 16:9. It's hard to achieve a decent view count on a video like that unless there's some real value brought to people, and I feel like this video does that. And in that, we did some teasers as well. So once again, just want to explain, what that strategy is. That's a 12-minute video. So we did 15 teasers, basically like the first minute, second minute, third minute, fourth minute, and so on up, right? And then have a call to action at the end of that. Basically, we set up a redirect that goes to this video, this main video, and that call to action was like /VideoCoach. So if you see it out in TikTok, Reels, and Shorts, and you get to the end of that 60-second teaser, it has a CTA that says goes to /video, inyourhandmedia.com/VideoCoach, and in that it redirects to this main form. And out of that, we've gotten 27 views within 3 days so far. So that's once again a way to take a long video and get it up into these discoverability platforms so that you can start to garner interest and try to drive them to the long form video. And we can see within 3 days it's starting to work already. So just wanted to point that out. And if you guys are curious about how to set up custom GPTs in ChatGPT and Custom Gemini, I highly encourage you to go ahead and watch that video. I will be doing a follow-up to it because I noticed some nuances as I started to work with the VideoCoach. Things like making sure that it's if you update PDFs to the knowledge base, that it actually had updated the GPT with that, and things like that, where you just make sure that that GPT is working at the highest level for you. Little nuances that I've discovered. So I'll do a subsequent video on that coming up probably within a week or so. I kind of want to keep some momentum going with the new value output that we're doing here. But in that, just wanted to speak to that, the differences in content. Over here we have our long form content, and when we go and we output to it, we do, we basically, whatever's being said in the video, we help it to inform the title through the LLM. We help it to write the social media copy and the hashtags, and then we package it up, teasing it back out to the full, the long form video that's found over here in the 16:9. So once again, that's been our strategy primarily over these 300 days is a lot of like filming nice storylines and then teasing to it and then adding some nice valuable standalone pieces of content within that. So as you guys can see, we're still growing month over month through this strategy. It is not rocket fast, but it is still that slow, steady growth. And in that too, it gives us a lot of ability to kind of figure ourselves out and iterate and sharpen our pencils as we film, as we execute, as we leverage the AI, and then as we bring this to you and just tell the stories about what we're doing and share honestly and openly the truth about what happens when you commit to something like this. So hope you guys have enjoyed this video today. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. But if you guys have any questions, once again, myself personally, the founder, the person that runs In Your Hand Media, I'm out to be the Kobe Bryant of marketing. That's what I always tell myself internally. And I'm really, I put in the work. I make sure I'm a practitioner in all corners, and I disseminate that down to my team and all my leads within the company. And in that, if you have any questions, you have any concerns, please hit me up in DMs. I do check those things, periodically. I'd love to connect with you. I'd love to meet up with you. Just someone who's, trying to innovate, trying to have a good time with this new artificial intelligence is out here, trying to figure out ways through my lens. I've been at this game over a decade. How can I bring real value with AI? How can I bring real value with content output? How can I, do things that just through my lens, bring it out to the world to share with you guys, so that you guys can have a better understanding about what happens when somebody kind of commits to these things. So that being said, I hope you guys continue your content creation, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next check-in.